This section covers troubleshooting on the following heaters. The following should be carried out with the heater isolated from the main supply, and only if you are competent to do so. If you require further assistance, please contact our technical hotline on 01284 757 505. If the heater hasn't ignited after several attempts, there may be excess fuel in the combustion chamber. This needs to be drained. To do this, raise the wheels until any fuel has drained out. Firstly, check the building's fuse board. If any fuses have tripped, turn them back on. But if they trip again, you need to return the heater to your dealer. If no fuses have tripped, check the mains plug. Remove the cover, test the fuse, and if necessary, replace it with a new 5 amp fuse. Now re-attempt ignition using the initial setup process. If the problem persists, isolate the heater from the main supply. Now check the printed circuit board fuse. Remove the 4 screws and lower the control panel to reveal the circuit board. The fuse is located in the top right-hand corner. If it's blown, replace it with a new one of the same rating. Before re-attempting the ignition process, you must replace the control panel. The heater will not operate if the thermostat is set lower than the room temperature. To overcome this, turn the thermostat up until the heater ignites. If, however, the heater fails to ignite, you need to move to the next section. Isolate the heater from the main supply. Check the fuel level and refill if necessary. Now check the fuel filter by removing the 4 screws on the control panel. Then lower the panel. The filter is located to the left side of the circuit board. Disconnect the clip and prise off the filter pipe. Turn the filter anti-clockwise until it can be lifted out. Now check the filter for debris and clean if necessary. If the filter is separated from the stem, a replacement will be required. Now refit the filter by following the procedure in reverse. Before re-attempting the ignition process, you must replace the control panel. Now re-attempt ignition using the initial setup process. If the problem persists, move on to the next section. Isolate the heater from the main supply. Open the lid of the heater by removing the 4 screws. Check the spark plug leads are connected. If they're not, push them on till an audible click is heard. Then close the lid and replace the 4 screws. Now re-attempt ignition using the initial setup process. If the problem persists, move on to the next section. Check the pressure gauge at the rear of the heater. With the heater turned on, it should read 5 psi. If it's too low, turn the adjuster screw clockwise to increase the pressure. If it's too high, turn the adjuster screw anti-clockwise. This will lower the pressure. This can be caused by condensation in the fuel tank. particularly if the machine has not been used through the summer period. Isolate the heater from the main supply. Drain the fuel by removing the plug on the underside of the tank, or alternatively, remove the filler cap and drain the fuel using a transfer pump. The model shown here is the TP69. Now refill with fresh fuel and then reattempt the ignition procedure. If the heater is not being used for an extended period, drain the fuel tank to avoid condensation forming. Here we see the warning light and the display showing E1. Isolate the heater from the main supply. Check the fuel level and refill if necessary. Open the lid of the heater by removing the 4 screws. Now remove the rear grille. Unscrew the pressure gauge and remove the 4 screws. Now check the condition of the 3 filters behind the pump housing. If they are badly soiled, you will need to replace them. Now repeat the process in reverse. Now replace the 4 screws. And replace the pressure gauge. Ensure the photocell is facing the hole in the rear of the burner assembly. If it's out of alignment, bend the bracket to suit. Finally, if the problem persists, move on to the next section. Check the pressure gauge at the rear of the machine. It should read 5 psi. If it's too low, turn the adjuster screw clockwise to increase the pressure. If it's too high, turn the adjuster screw anti-clockwise to lower the pressure. If the heater flame extends beyond the front of the heater, turn the screw anti-clockwise to decrease the pressure. If the heater is running too low, turn the screw clockwise to increase the pressure until the gauge reads 5 psi. Firstly, remove the adjuster screw by turning it anti-clockwise. Then, remove the spring and steel ball. If the ball is stuck inside the spring, remove it, turn the spring round, and using a pair of pliers, bend the end of the spring as shown. Now refit the steel ball into the filter cover, followed by the spring with the modified end entering first. Then replace the adjuster screw. Finally, turn on the heater and adjust the pressure till the gauge reads 5 psi. If the display shows E3, there is a fault with the thermostat switch. Please contact your dealer to arrange a repair.